Okay. Assalamualaikum. Okay, so welcome to the next chapter. Okay, so this video we're going to discuss chapter 22. Okay, so under system development life cycle, this is the last topic under the SDLC, chapter 22, that related to system design, implementation, and also the operation. So actually, this topic will be discussed the rest of the steps involved in the SDLC. So we had discussed in system analysis, the first part in the chapter 20. So that's the first step, including the requirements and also including the project management. Okay, so in this chapter, this is the rest of the steps, okay, in the SDLC. Alright, the feasibility study, including also the feasibility study that we discussed in the chapter 20. Okay, so in this chapter 22, we have 5 learning objectives, okay, that covered the rest of the steps in the SDLC. The first one discuss the conceptual system design. The process and the activities involved, we're going to discuss in this phase. Discuss the physical system design process and the activities in the physical system phase. Discuss the system implementation process and activities in this phase. And number 4, discuss the system conversion process and the activities in this phase. And the last one, the activities and process in the system operation and maintenance. Okay, so if you notice in the Shopper Smart, okay, the continuous case, okay, that I already given to you earlier. Okay, so hopefully you read through the case. Alright, so Shopper Smart from the previous topic in the chapter 21. Okay, so actually she decides to develop in-house. Okay, because dalam chapter 21 tu we already discussed the alternative for the companies, okay, whether they want to make or buy, or they want to outsource, or any strategies so that they can shorten or more effective on the development. Alright, so the question arises from the this case. Alright, so this is related to the Shopper Smart case. So Anne Christie, they had meeting with the head of system development. So they discuss these following questions. Okay, should her team develop what it consider to be the best approach to meeting the Shopper Smart's needs, or should they develop several approaches? Okay, so those are the things that they come across to discuss with the head of the system development. Okay, and then how can she ensure that the system output will meet the user's needs? Okay, so if let's say they want to develop in-house, so how they can ensure the output of the system can meet the user's needs. Okay, then when and how should input be captured, and who should capture it? Okay, and then where should AIS data be stored, and how should it be organized and assessed? So this is the related to this, the new system. Okay, related to their input, output, process macam mana, store the data, okay, how they going to organize the data and so on. Okay, so this is more related to the questions that related to the new system that they're going to develop. Then the last question, how should the Shopper Smart convert, okay, from its current to its new AIS? So let's say they already developed the system, okay, how they going to convert from the new the old one to the new, ataupun from the current system now, and then they want to implement the new system, and then how much time and effort needed to maintain the new system. Okay, and then in what capacity should ends accounting staff participate? Okay, so those are the question arise, okay, that from the Shopper Smart, the case of the Shopper Smart. So actually, to have effective system analysis and design, when they have this effectiveness in the system analysis and design, they also can help the developers to correctly define the business problem. Okay, that we discussed in the chapter 20. We have the system requirements, okay, in the system analysis. So when they have a correct, they have an effective system analysis and design, so they can develop correctly and also can define correctly what are the users needs ataupun the company's need. Okay, and then also that system can create they can solve the problems, okay, that arise in the company. Okay, so kalau you remember in the chapter 20 earlier, shoppers might have a problem in their current system. When they have a new system, when they have a good system analysis and design, hopefully the new system can define the correct business requirement or users requirement, and also can create ataupun solve the company's problem. Okay, so in this chapter 22, we're going to discuss the rest of the topics. Okay, so actually the role of the accountants here, they can help to keep the project on track. Okay, so if you remember that in the chapter 20 we discussed the who are involved, participants involved in the project team, the project developers. Okay, so part one of them is the accountants. Okay, so in the development process ni, the accountant can help the project in terms of they can keep the project on track by evaluating and measuring the benefits and also the cost. Okay, so you belajar kan on the finance yang kita dah discuss itu, and then also we can the accountants also know about the cost by benefit evaluation. Okay, and then can monitor the cost, and then can ensure the project stay on schedule. Okay, so those are the things that accountant can okay, so the accountant can help the project developers, okay, in terms of this their role. They can play their role to assist on the project development. Alright, so if we refer to this figure, okay, we already seen the figure in this chapter 20 hari tu. So the system analysis we already covered in the chapter 20, including feasibility analysis, okay, and also the planning. Okay, so for chapter 22 today, we in this video we're going to discuss the rest 4 steps. Okay, conceptual design, physical design, implementation and conversion, and also the last is the operation and maintenance. Okay, so if you refer, okay, we start on the learning objective number 1 to discuss the conceptual system design process and the activities involved in this phase. Okay, so since this is the second phase after system analysis. Okay, so in the conceptual system design, the developer create the general framework. Okay, so that general framework can be implement the user requirement, and also can solve problems identified in the analysis phase. Okay, so actually dia design the conceptual ni is not the physical lagi. Maknanya dia itu adalah satu framework dulu. So dia nampak the whole thing, what they already collect daripada system analysis, especially the requirements that already known during the system analysis, the problem that they had defined dalam system analysis. Okay, so they develop the general framework so that they can implement the user requirement. Okay. Okay, so in the conceptual system design, they have 3 steps involved: evaluate design alternative, prepare design specification, and then they prepare the report. Okay. So we go to for the first one dulu. Okay, evaluate design alternative. Alright, so there are many ways to design the AIS. So the accountants and other involved in the system design must be continually make design decisions. If you can refer to Shopper Smart case under summaries and case conclusion, okay, we can see that in the Anne Christie Okay, they want to tackle on the sales processing system. Okay, so when they want to design the sales processing system, they're already thinking in ahead that they want to design using the uh, use electronic data interchange EDI. Okay, and then they want to have the enter orders over the internet. They want to use the RFID. They want to use the barcodes. Okay, and then also some of the things that related to the network. They want to centralize the database. Okay, those are the they are plan to design the AIS, design dia punya system, sales processing system. Okay, so first the team should identify the variety of design alternative, okay, and evaluate each with respect to the following standards. Okay, so they have 4 standards here. So how well it meets the organisation and system objective, that's the first one. So if they want to design the alternative tu, they have to ensure they follow those standards. Okay, they meets the organisation objective. Okay, and then also meets the users needs, of course. Okay, dia kena utamakan user dia lah. And then whether it is economical feasible. For example lah, kata tadi dia nak guna RFID. Okay, is it economical feasible for the company to use all the tools that related to the technology? Okay, and then the advantages and disadvantages. And then if you refer to table 22.1, so those are the design consideration and alternative. Okay, for example, we take one example under design consideration. For example, communication network. Okay, so they have alternative whether they want to have network, centralized network or decentralized network, ataupun dia nak guna local area. So those are the alternative that they have. Or we can have input format. Input whether they want to use the source document or they want to use turnaround document. They want to use source data automation, screen input. Okay, so those are the alternative that they have the alternative of those design. So dia kena fikirlah sistem dia tu sesuai yang mana. Okay, so bila dia pilih design, then they have to make sure itu meets dia punya user requirement, meets the organization's objective. Okay, economical feasibility, and also they have to consider all those advantages and disadvantages that they choose, the design that they choose. Okay, and then itu the first step, right? Then the second step is the prepare the design specification. Okay, so once design alternative has been selected from the first stage just now, first step tadi, then the project team develop the conceptual design specification. Okay, so dia kena specify lah, kena zahirkan tu design specification ni macam mana. So for example, they have to include semua specification tu ada 4 output, data storage, input and processing procedure and operation. Okay, so for input, because the system is designed to meet user information needs, so the output specification must be prepared dululah. So bila dia nak prepare specification, dia utamakan dulu output, sebab biasanya users ni dia utama dulu output apa yang dia nak. Okay, so from the users needs tadi, okay, users information needs, so from there the output specification must be prepared dulu. Okay, so contoh kalau dalam Shopper Smart, so they can to evaluate the store sales, they decide how often to produce the sales analysis report. Ni semua berkaitan dengan output. Okay, how often to produce the sales analysis report, what the report should contain. Okay, so dalam sales analysis report kena ada apa, information apa yang perlu ada. Okay, what it will look like. Okay, whether it is hard copy or soft copy ataupun screen. Okay, screen output. So those are the things yang dia kena nyatakan lah dalam specification tu. Then the next element is data storage. Which data needs to be stored? Okay, so kalau let's say tadi relate to the sales, store sales, so data apa yang perlu relate to sales report, ataupun berkaitan dengan store sales just now that we discuss dalam Shopper Smart. Okay, and then whether the data should be stored in sequentially or random order, what type of file database to use. Okay, field size dia macam mana. So those are the things related to data storage. So dia kena inform, prepare, okay, this specification. Then the third element is input. Okay, so design consideration for shopper smart including sales data. So sales data to enter sales location, amount berapa, di mana, when, how to collect data. So semua tu relate to the input. So those specification must be input, specify, okay, in this conceptual design specification. Okay, and then the last element should have processing, procedure and operation. So if we refer pada shopper smart tadi, include how to process the input. Okay, so dia dah bila dah masuk data, macam mana dia nak proses data tu, store di mana, store data to produce the sales report and also the sequence in which the processes must be performed. So dia kena letaklah dalam prosedur dia what the process must be involved. Okay, so dalam proses tu mungkin ada step-step dia, prosedur that should be that need to be followed. Okay, so those are the 4 elements that need to have in the conceptual design specification. Then the last step, they need to prepare the report lah. Okay, so report ni actually include all the specification that we discussed just now. So at the end of the conceptual design phase, the conceptual system design report is prepared, so that this report can give a guide on the physical design after this phase. Okay, after this phase is physical system design. So this report will be used as the guideline for the system design, and then it also can be used to communicate how the management and user information needs will be met. Semua specification kita dah letak tadi. So those are the things yang penting yang masa dalam design kena tahu, and then this is how the management can communicate, okay, those users needs in the report. And then also can help the steering committee to assess the system feasibility. And then if you refer page 721, the last table 22.8, the table of contents for the shopper smart report. So in this table they include the report, overall report, including this conceptual system design report. Okay, so you can refer to that table on page 721. Okay, the last table, okay, before end of the chapter. So dalam tu you boleh nampak lah contoh-contoh content yang perlu ada dalam conceptual design, system design. Okay, so semua yang kita termasuklah yang kita discuss specification tadi, so semua masuk dalam report. Alright, so that's it untuk the first learning objective 1. So I stop the video here, so I will continue in the next video related to the learning objective number 2.